Today I'm painting Wet in Wet in Adobe Sketch. Hi everybody, Steve Elliott here with my 100th video. I'm using Adobe Sketch for the first time. This is a tryout. Well, when I say the first time, it's the first proper painting I've done in it, or proper sketch. I have had a play around with it and I was so impressed with the watercolor brush that I just wanted to make this video straight away. So I put on hold something else I was doing just to show you this. Now, if you want to use Adobe Sketch, you will need an Adobe a cloud account. It's free, so it's not a big deal there. Just put your email address in and then away you go. So what I like about this, if you notice, I'm putting the paint on the paper or on the canvas and it flows as though the paint is on a wet surface. So I know you can do this in Rebel. I don't know if you can do it in Corel Painter, the full version. Probably, I would have thought so. But I don't know any other program other than those, or definitely Rebel, that actually does this, where you can get flowing paint, which really does gives you the ability to produce a wet in wet painting. Now, as I am a watercolor painter, traditionally, that's my main medium, I just had to have a go with this and see if I could produce something that looked like a wet in wet sky. So I created two initial layers, one for an initial wash, very pale wash, that I then added some more colours into. Then I created another layer to build more clouds on the top of that without disturbing the underlying layer. And I'm using the flat watercolor brush. I think I'm using 3 brushes in the old painting: the flat watercolor brush, the round watercolor brush, and I think it's called smudge brush, which gives a really nice soft edged effect. So here again, I'm just using the watercolor brush and then I'm softening those edges on that white cloud. You can see there. And I did this by adjusting the flow rate of the paint of the brush. So I think I'm going to do a full tutorial on this. Let me know if you think it's worth doing in the comments. That would be useful. I know I keep saying I'm going to do some tutorials, and I've just got so many things that I want to do, and I keep getting distracted looking at new apps and things, and then I'll go out and see something that I want to paint. I get into doing the painting and the tutorials. I think it's because I want to do a really in-depth one that's going to, be a series of videos that I kind of keep putting it off because I know it's going to take me a long time to set them all up properly. But I thought this might be a good place to start because it's a fairly simple app, but you can get some really, really nice effects with it. The canvas size I chose at the beginning, by the way, was an A3 portrait, and that gave me a pixel size of the finished painting of 3508 by 2482 pixels. That's at 72 dots per inch. I don't know if you can make it bigger than that. I guess you can, but then again, I would imagine that's going to start to affect the flow of the paint because it's going to be on a bigger canvas and it might not be quite so obvious. Because I do think this looks really realistic, and I just love the way that paint just keeps flowing in there, just like traditional media. I had to go at this. I did make a few mistakes where it just wasn't quite going in. You can see an overlap on the tree, sort of. There you can see on the left hand side there's like a join. So I think I undo that. Now if I was doing that traditionally, I would just get a wet brush and keep dabbing it and lifting it off with a wet towel. So I don't consider that to be cheating. Then I have another go. Notice I'm putting warmer colours, slightly warmer colours. These are all tints really, because that's how you build up watercolour. It is a transparent medium. It's not opaque, and you just put sort of light washes on. look at the way that paint just flows. It's great. I love it. I just absolutely love it, because you haven't got a lot of control. You put the water on, and it pretty much does its own thing. You can control it to somewhat in real life, so I guess the more practice you had on here, the better you would get at controlling the flow. And now I've created another layer to put in some detail, and I use the eraser to sharpen up the edge on the roof of the farmhouse. I call this farmhouse, or this painting, the Gamekeeper's Cottage, because when I was a painter and decorator, I actually decorated the inside of this farmhouse, and all over the walls it got sort of stag's heads and sort of the remnants of dead animals that it shot and had stuffed, I suppose, and sort of just awns and things. So I've painted it quite a few times. I do like the setting of it, but so I've painted this in watercolor. In fact, this painting that I'm doing now is a copy of an original watercolor that I did quite a few years ago, because I just wanted to see how close I could get to a traditional medium or traditional watercolor. Now this is where I'm using this sort of smudge brush to get this sort of still wet in wet looking effect, but so it's obviously going on just damp paper, so it doesn't bleed out too much. And then I use the pencil tool to give some more sort of sharper edged lines, and I'm sort of going in now, putting in detail. Now at this point I think this is a finished painting, and I could have stopped there, but I didn't, because obviously, you know, you've got to go and keep pushing it until you spoil the thing. So I kept going, and I was trying lots of different things and taking them out. I wanted a bit more depth of colour in the foreground to sort of balance off against the sky. So I sort of got these foreground colours in, and then sort of just kept using the water or a brush with the flow turned down to hide the colour of the paint, to add water to the canvas. And then I sort of deepened up the sky, and then I kind of got a little bit crazy and sort of put a sunset in, and I just thought, oh my god, this is going pear-shaped. So I used the undo tool to get that back, but you can't go all the way. There's a limited number of undos on this. I don't know what it is. I would imagine it seemed to be about 20, so I had to use the eraser to lift some colours out. So that's something to be aware of. But then I had another go, and I thought it'd be quite cool to put some shafts of light coming through that sort of heavy cloud. So I created a new layer, created it, put the blend mode to lighten, and then added a few more touches just to finish off a sort of very soft watercolour. And that is it. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's been helpful. If you've liked it, big thumbs up as always, much appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I have lots of videos all about digital painting, and I would love to be sharing them with you. So hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.